Lavinho is the master striker of FC Barcha, and when it comes to creativity on the field, he's easily one of the best in the entire Neo-Egoist League. In fact, his flair for dribbling and flashy plays might even be the highest. However, he's also known as the worst mentor among all the master strikers. Why? Well, you're about to find out. So hold on tight, because starting with Lavinho, we'll introduce you to every FC Barcha player in the Neo-Egoist League in just a few minutes. Of course, including our boy Bachira. As a striker, Lavinho is on the same level as Mark Snuffy, Loki, Chris Prince, and even Noel Noa, the undisputed GOAT of the Blue Lock world. His dribbling is top tier, and when he went head to head with Noah, it was literally called a battle of the gods from different worlds. The match was a stalemate because honestly, only Noah seemed capable of stopping Lavinho, or at least stalling him long enough for the star system's 3 minutes to run out. But then, something unexpected happened. In the middle of an intense one-on-one between Noah and Lavinho, Isagi makes a critical mistake. He thought that jumping into the fight and forcing a 2-on-1 situation would help Bastard München steal the ball. He couldn't have been more wrong. For Lavinho, this was an opportunity. To him, a weakling like Isagi was just another toy to play with on the field. With a slick rainbow flick, Lavinho literally used Isagi as a stepping stone to break past Noah. And after that, it was game over. He entered the flow state, weaved through defenders like they weren't even there, toyed with the goalkeeper, and finished off his goal with pure style, bowing in front of his opponents as if putting on a grand performance. That's why they call him the Dance Man. His unique playstyle, known as the Dance of Defeat, makes it seem like every defender caught in his dribbles is forced into an unwilling dance before inevitably collapsing. Even Bastard München's goalkeeper could do nothing but watch as Lavinho stylishly placed the ball into the net. Lavinho isn't just all about offense. He had his moments in defense too. One of the best examples is when he tried to stop Noah by ordering his team to back down and pack the goal area, thinking that would be enough. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Noah's mechanical dribbling was so flawless that their strategy fell apart instantly. It wasn't just about Noah's perfect body and brain for soccer. It was the fact that he could use both feet with equal power. In the end, their efforts were useless, and Noah still scored. By the end of the match between FC Barcha and Bastard München, Lavinho and Noah scored 1 goal each. But what's really interesting is how their rivalry started. For one, Noah calls Lavinho Lavi, which already hints that they've known each other for a long time. Noah even straight up said that Lavinho's immaturity hasn't changed a bit. As pros, they've also clashed in big matches before. One key moment was in the Champions League semi-finals, where it was mentioned that Lavinho lost to Noah. Their rivalry also comes with some hilarious moments, like when Noah called FC Barcha a team without a proper adult, and Lavinho just hit him with a goo goo gaga in response. What's even more interesting is that Lavinho never actually planned to enter the match. But once things got heated, he couldn't resist using the star change system to sub himself in. And despite his team's loss, he was seen smiling while watching Kunigami's winning goal. But now, let's talk about Lavinho as a mentor because, well, he's kind of the worst one. Right from the start, he told the Blue Lockers he wasn't going to teach them anything. They had to figure everything out on their own. His logic is simple. Blue Lock was created to produce the best strikers in the world. But as far as Lavinho's concerned, he's already the best. He's not about to hand out free lessons to a bunch of kids who might one day surpass him. Even Teru Kitsunezato and Miroku Darai from the original Japan U20 team looked like they were reconsidering their life choices. Bachira, on the other hand, is kinda confused. Isn't Noah the one considered the best striker in the world? That's what he heard on TV at least. But Lavinho? He doesn't care about that. What the media says doesn't matter to him. In his mind, he's the best. And trust me, this mindset is important for FC Barcha's philosophy as a whole. See, Lavinho has this image that exists only in his mind. If these Blue Lock players want to be the best, just following instructions won't get them there. Sure, they can start by copying strong players, just like Lavinho did at first, but they need to combine it with their own vision of what being the world's best means. That's the whole idea of originality in FC Barcha. Lavinho can't just tell someone how to become the best. They have to create their own path based on their own image of greatness. For Lavinho, his image is a butterfly, and he sees the soccer field as his stage. Every move he makes is part of his dance, a performance that hypes up the audience. And of course, that's what brings in the money too. To him, football is about improvising, controlling the game's rhythm, and making it match his own flow. It's a dance, a show, pure entertainment. That's where his unique style, Butterfly x Ginga, comes in. Back in Brazil, Lavinho embraced the world of Ginga, which he says means shaky or swaying. It comes from capoeira, a mix of martial arts, acrobatics, dance, and music. And if you've seen Lavinho play, you can definitely see the influence in his movements and aura. But aside from all that, FC Barcha might just be the most fun team in the Neo-Egoist League. If you look at the panels, they genuinely feel like a group of close friends rather than just teammates. Meguru Bachira is one of the key players for FC Barcha, and unlike most Blue Lock players, he became a starter right from the very first game. Even Raichi, Igarashi, and Yukimiya were shocked when they saw his name in the starting lineup. And later, during their match against Bastard München, Bachira will form a chemical reaction with some of his teammates, but we'll get to that soon. If you've watched the anime, you already know Bachira is a crazy good dribbler and, at times, a playmaker for Isagi. He used to follow the monster inside him, believing it guided him to create the best plays. But after overcoming that monster, Bachira became even stronger. However, in the Neo-Egoist League, something still felt off. That's when he asked Lavinho what kind of image he should develop as a player. Lavinho's answer to that is simple. He just needs to evolve his monster to the next level. That monster is the key to his originality and will be what pushes him toward becoming the best in the world. During FC Barcha's training, Bachira realized something strange about his own movements. They weren't exactly what he thought they were. So, he decided to study Lavinho's movements and mix them with his own style. What he created was Ginga X Monster, a brand new playstyle. This change didn't just lead to a freestyle chemical reaction with Otoya, but also Bachira's first official goal in the Neo-Egoist League. Ginga X Monster is an evolved version of his flow state and monster trance. First, his dribbling posture changed. His center of gravity became more stable. The ball felt like it was glued to his feet, and his movements became way harder to predict. But despite all these flashy moves, he wasn't moving forward. And that's all part of Bachira's plan. He lures his opponents into his image field and forces them to make the first move. The moment they take the bait, that's when he breaks past them. This new style even let him slip past Kunigami, though it took multiple attempts. Isagi sums up Bachira's evolution like this. He's not just playing around like a kid anymore. Instead of doing whatever he wants, he's waiting for his opponent to move, or baiting them into making the first move so he can slip past them with ease. Bachira's originality and FC Barcha's environment are what pushed this evolution, turning him into a player currently ranked 5th, with a value of 79 million yen. Bachira's ego is off the charts. He straight up told Kaiser that he was going to crush him, and even called Isagi slow when he tried to steal the ball from him. That being said, Bachira isn't flawless. He's had his fair share of misplays in the Neo-Egoist League. For example, his Ginga X Monster and chemical reaction with Otoya didn't work the second time around because Ness shut it down. On top of that, he didn't expect Isagi to pass to Kunigami for the winning goal, which meant he failed to stop the play from happening. Even after the match, Bachira kept thinking about why Isagi passed to Kunigami, but instead of calling him out on it, he respects his decision. At the end of the day, Bachira just wants them to meet again on the same stage as Egoists fighting for the same goal. Ita Otoya is FC Barcha's right winger, and just like Bachira, he became a starter right away. His dribbling and off-the-ball movements have seriously leveled up during the Neo-Egoist League. What's even crazier is that he can sync up with Bachira's rhythm and Ginga X Monster, which Isagi himself said was supposed to be unreadable. Otoya pulls this off thanks to his unique playstyle. I mean, let's not forget, Otoya is basically a ninja on the field. His stealth walk, or shadow steps, allow him to slip into opponents' blind spots, letting him weave through defenses before they even notice. And by the time they react, it's already too late. Unlike Chigiri or Zantetsu, who blaze forward in a straight line, Otoya's dribbling is different. He dashes in curved lines and squeezes through tight spaces, making his movements feel even more ninja-like. But what truly sets Otoya apart is how he combines his stealthy movements with tiki-taka. This playstyle is all about possession, short passes, and extreme coordination. FC Barcha's version of it emphasizes freedom and adaptability, and Otoya blends perfectly into the system. He can match Bachira's rhythm while still playing to his own strengths. This is basically the team's dynamo. That's not all. Otoya also contributes defensively. He's gone up against Benedict Grimm and Ness, and even teamed up with Bachira to block Ren. One cool thing about Otoya is that he's insanely compatible with Karasu. In fact, they might just be one of the best duos in the series. And there's a good reason why. Something we see clearly in Blue Lock, episode Nagi. The biggest reason is that both Karasu and Otoya are self-reliant egoists. In Blue Lock, these are players who know their own strengths inside and out and don't rely on anyone else. Their chemistry comes from their playstyles, weapons, and even their personalities. Karasu sees Otoya as a what you see is what you get kind of guy, which is why he feels comfortable playing alongside him. Otoya has always lived by just going with the flow. Ever since he was a kid, he never worried about things, because in his mind, if it's something worth stressing over, then it's already out of his control. Even before Blue Lock, Otoya was just having fun. His motto is literally to go with the flow and become the world's best. In the Neo-Egoist League, Otoya and Karasu finally meet again during FC Barcha's match against Paris X Gen. When Karasu subbed in, he even caught Otoya off guard with a steal. Now, even though FC Barcha hasn't won a game yet, Otoya is still one of the top-ranked players among the Blue Lock and Japan U20 members. He's currently ranked 10th, with a bid of 42 million yen, which is around 276,000 US dollars. We already talked about the freestyle chemical reaction between Bachira and Otoya, but there's actually one more key player in the mix, Ignacio Lala. Lala is basically FC Barcha's version of Agi from Manshine City. He's a native player on the team who plays a big role in helping the Blue Lockers fit in. However, if we're being honest, Lala seems a lot more normal than Agi. He plays as a left winger and is often seen linking up with Bachira and Otoya on offense. He also has a few moments in defense, but not as many as the others. Unfortunately, Lala doesn't get much screen time. The moment Lavinho subbed into the match, he was the one who got replaced for 3 minutes. Himizu is one of the Blue Lock strikers who made it into the third clear team alongside Karasu, Otoya, and Yukimiya. By the end of the second selection, he ranked 77th among all the surviving Blue Lock players at the time. But here's something you might not know. Himizu is called the Master of Fake, or the Genius of Lies. That might sound a little goofy, but stick with me for a second. While he doesn't get much screen time in the main series, his character is actually explored a lot more in the Blue Lock spin-off, episode Nagi. Himizu is kind of a bully, and even once kicked a ball at Nagi from point-blank range just to mess with him. He's also double-tongued, both literally and figuratively. Basically, he's a habitual liar with a snake-like tongue that he often sticks out. Now when it comes to his playstyle, Himizu is not someone to take lightly. He's got a sharp read on the field and his opponents, and his reputation as a liar makes his feint attacks incredibly deceptive. He doesn't just use feints for dribbling, he also uses them for passing. A perfect example is when he made it look like he'll pass to Karasu or Otoya in his match against Nagi's team, only to actually send it to Kiora, who then scored. This ability isn't something he just picked up overnight. Himizu has been reading people's lies since he was a kid. He grew up in a complicated family where his parents pretended to be happy, but he could see right through it. Over time, he developed a talent for spotting deception and even started doubting people's facial expressions. Himizu believes that everyone's personality is just a mix of different personas, and he takes pleasure in exposing people's real feelings. That's why, in his match against Chigiri, he quickly realized Chigiri was at his limit and took advantage of it. As of the current Blue Lock rankings, Himizu is sitting in 30th place with a salary of 7 million yen. That's around $45,000. And here's the crazy part. He likely got that entire value just from this match against Paris X-Jin, since he didn't appear in Bastard München's game and probably didn't play against Ubers either. And that match ended in a loss. Quick timeout. Before we dive into the Japan U20 players who joined FC Barcha, along with the rest of the Blue Lockers, international players, and the goalkeeper Isagi actually called world class. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Alright, let's kick off. FC Barcha might just be the Neo-Egoist team with the most Japan U20 players. And kicking off that list is Miroku Darai. Back in the Japan U20 team, he was known as the Buddhist and played a crucial role in the Iron Wall Quartet alongside Aiku, Kazuma, and Neru. Darai didn't get a play in FC Barcha's first match against Bastard München, but he got his chance to show off his skills in later matches, though sadly, it all happened off screen. That's a real shame because of his off-the-ball movements and the ability to smell or predict his opponent's next moves could honestly put him on par with, or even better than, Otoya's stealthy ninja-like steps. But since Darai has a bid in the latest rankings, it's clear that he's proving his worth to the team. Speaking of rankings, there's actually a pretty funny illustrator mistake when it comes to his salary value. In chapter 204, Darai is ranked 18th with a value of 16 million yen. But just a few pages later, his value suddenly drops to 15 million yen, which is around $98,000. In the latest rankings in chapter 246, he dropped to 25th place, and his value remained at 15 million yen, meaning that he's likely his true value. Haru Hayate sits just one rank below Darai with a current value of 13 million yen. He used to be a defensive midfielder for Japan U20 before joining FC Barcha in the Neo-Egoist League. Interestingly, Hayate was the tallest player in the Japan U20 team. His main job back then was to pressure opponents in possession of the ball and force them to pass, which helped the Iron Wall Quartet tighten their defense. But just like Darai, his plays in the Neo-Egoist League all happened off screen. We do know that he played against Ubers, but that's about it. It's pretty unfortunate for Hayate because his most impactful moment in this league is, well, him raising his right hand and getting hyped about Noah versus Lavinho. You might say the author did him dirty, and honestly, that's true. But he's definitely not the only one. Itsuki Wakatsuki is another player from the Japan U20 team. His role was to back up Hayate and help pressure opponents into passing the ball. If they succeeded, Kazuma, Aiku, and the others could follow up and reinforce the defense. But in the Neo-Egoist League, Itsuki barely gets any hype. He didn't even play in FC Barcha's first 2 matches against Bastard München and Ubers, and his name wasn't even in the Blue Lock rankings in chapter 204. However, he finally got his chance against Paris X-Jin. His name appeared in the latest rankings, and he's actually tied with Kento Cho, another Japan U20 player. Both of them are ranked 32nd with a salary of 5 million yen, which is around $33,000. Last on the list of Japan U20 players is Teru Kitsunezato. He was one of the team's forwards, playing alongside Kento and Sendo. Teru's playstyle heavily focuses on counterattacks. He believes that's the best way to score goals. When he counterattacks, he wastes no time and no movement, making him a deadly offensive player. In the Neo-Egoist League, Teru managed to get into the Blue Lock rankings, sitting at 34th place in the latest update. His salary is 4 million yen, which is around $26,000, a bit lower than Itsuki's. While we didn't see him in the matches against Bastard München or Ubers, there's a strong hint that he played in their loss against Paris X-Jin. But this barely scratches the surface. These Japan U20 players have more skills, philosophies, and hype moments, which we cover in another video. If you haven't seen that yet, check out this breakdown where we explain every Japan U20 player in just 20 minutes. Shizuka Haishi is one of the Blue Lock strikers who picked FC Barcha as his Neo-Egoist League team. He was part of the 4th clear team alongside Nanase and Hiragi and actually ranked 19th at the end of the 2nd selection. To put that into perspective, he was just 1 rank below Baru, who was 18th, and way ahead of Nico, who was 63rd. But back then, those players hadn't fully evolved yet, so it makes sense that Shizuka fell behind in the Neo-Egoist League. He didn't get to play against Bastard München or Ubers, but he did play in their match against Paris X-Jin. Thanks to that, he made it into the latest Blue Lock rankings at 31st place with a salary of 6 million yen, which is around 39,000 US dollars. Tetsu Sokura is another Blue Lock player who joined FC Barcha in the Neo-Egoist League. He was part of the 7th clear team alongside Igarashi, Corona, Ryo, and Shido, and he ranked 20th at the end of the 2nd selection. But just like Shizuka, we haven't seen Tetsu play on screen in the Neo-Egoist League. What's even worse is that he might not have played at all. He hasn't shown up in any of FC Barcha's matches so far, and his name is missing from the Blue Lock rankings, even after his team's match against Ubers, and in the latest rankings in Chapter 246. Other than that, there's really not much else to say about author-abandoned players like Tetsu or Shizuka, and at this point, it's pretty unlikely that they'll ever be major players in the Neo-Egoist League. So let's move on to FC Barcha's original members and break them down real quick. We already talked about Lara and how important he was for the team, but FC Barcha has another interesting native player, one of them being Ruith. Ruith is a center back and one of FC Barcha's most reliable defenders. Throughout the Neo-Egoist League, we've seen him set up multiple times. He defended against Kaiser, marked Kunigami, and even tried to stop Noah's machine dribbling. But in the end, it wasn't enough, and Noah still scored a goal. A few chapters later, Ruith was back in action, playing in the same position, this time going up against Ren. But once again, he came up short, falling victim to Ren's newly evolved surprise spinning mid-range shot. And it didn't stop there. He also couldn't stop Shido's next 2 goals in the same match. Picasso has a unique character design, but even he wasn't safe from the author's abandonment plan. He plays as a midfielder for FC Barcha, but compared to Lara, he doesn't stand out much in terms of appearance or impact. That said, Picasso still had his moments in the Neo-Egoist League. At one point, he held a counterattack for his team and even helped out in defense against Kaiser and other Bastard München players. Espesso is FC Barcha's defensive midfielder, and when it comes to defense, he's definitely a key player. He can quickly shift into defense and is always ready to challenge big names like Kunigami or even Noah himself. But despite his solid defensive skills, he still struggles against Kunigami's raw power and Noah's insane specs and machine dribbling. The same thing goes for So, FC Barcha's left side back. He was one of the many players who tried to stop Noah's goal, but no surprise there, it didn't work. The guy even threw his head in the way to block Noah's shot, but it still wasn't enough to stop the world's #1. Even in FC Barcha's match against Paris X-Jin, So failed to stop Shido's winning goal. He also had his moments defending against Kaiser and trying to hold back players in the Kaiser-centered system, like Eric Gisner or Benedict Grimm. Bose is FC Barcha's right side back, and throughout the Neo-Egoist League, we've seen him work well with his teammates. One example is when he urged Picasso to start a counterplay after Kunigami's goal attempt was shut down by their goalkeeper. On defense, Bose was also key in stopping Ness's play, marking Grimm to intercept the attack. He even helped out Lavinho and the team in trying to shut down Noah. Of course, he's had other defensive plays, but so far, these have been his biggest moments. Moro is FC Barcha's goalkeeper and might be the only international keeper in the Neo-Egoist League that Isagi actually called world class. That's because he managed to stop Kunigami's first goal attempt, which was super close to going in. Unfortunately, his luck didn't last. He couldn't block Kaiser's Kaiser impact, which became Bastard München's first goal. Then, Noah's machine dribbled shot got past him, and finally, Kunigami's lefty shot, assisted by Isagi, sealed the deal. Moro also had a rough time in the match against Paris X-Jin, where he failed to stop goals from both Ren and Shido, which led to FC Barcha losing the game. Urazes is another original FC Barcha player, and he plays center back for the team. His main job is to defend the goal and stop enemy strikers from moving forward, which is exactly what he tried to do in the Neo-Egoist League. In their match against Bastard München, Urazes had his moments, teaming up with Espesso to stop Kunigami and working with Ruiz to back up Lavinho after Noah broke through him. Gomez is another midfielder for FC Barcha, and his job is to switch between offense and defense when needed. But honestly, we've seen him play defense way more often than making offensive plays. Some of his standout moments include teaming up with So in a 2-on-1 to stop Eric Gisner's pass, trying to steal the ball from Ness alongside Lara, and of course, joining almost the entire FC Barcha squad in a desperate attempt to stop Noah's machine dribbling. But now that you know about Lavinho and every player in FC Barcha, it's time to learn more about the Neo-Egoist teams that defeated them, like Ubers, Bastard München, and Paris X-Jin, or the team they're currently battling, Manshine City. Lucky for you, we've got a whole series breaking down each team, so click these videos on your screen now.